The hematopoietic system, explained like never before. Right now, as you sit here, your body is running one of the most remarkable manufacturing operations in all of biology. Somewhere deep inside your bones, stem cells are making decisions. Decisions that will determine whether the next cell produced carries oxygen, fights an infection, or seals a bleeding wound. This is not a slow process. It is happening at a rate of millions of cells every single second. The hematopoietic system is one of the most underestimated systems in the entire human body. Most people have never even heard its name, but without it, nothing else works. Let us break it down piece by piece. What is the hematopoietic system? The word itself comes from the Greek, haima, meaning blood, poiein, meaning to make. So the hematopoietic system is, at its most fundamental level, the blood-making system of the body. But calling it just a blood-making system is like calling the heart just a pump. Technically accurate, but it misses everything that makes it extraordinary. The hematopoietic system is the collection of organs, tissues, cells, and signals responsible for producing, regulating, and replenishing every single type of blood cell in your body. It is not located in one place. It is not a single organ. It is a living network, and at its center is one of the most powerful cells in human biology, the hematopoietic stem cell. Where it all begins, the stem cell cell. Here is the concept that changes everything once you understand it. Every single blood cell in your body, whether it carries oxygen to your muscles, attacks a bacteria, or forms a clot over a cut, started as the same type of cell. One starting point, infinite possibilities. That starting point is the hematopoietic stem cell, or HSC. These cells live primarily in the red bone marrow, tucked inside the flat bones of your body, the pelvis, sternum, skull, and vertebrae. They have two remarkable abilities that make them unlike almost any other cell in your body. First, they can make copies of themselves, ensuring the supply never runs out. Second, they can become any type of blood cell the body needs. This is called being multipotent, and it is what makes the entire hematopoietic system possible. Think of it this way. The hematopoietic stem cell is a factory that produces all of the workers and also produces more factories. The body never runs out of the source. The two great lineages from the hematopoietic stem cell, everything splits into two great pathways, two roads that lead to completely different destinations. The first is the myeloid lineage. The second is the lymphoid lineage. These are not just categories, they are entire branches of biological purpose. The myeloid lineage is the one most people would recognize if they thought about blood. It gives rise to red blood cells, the cells that carry oxygen throughout your body. It produces platelets, the tiny cell fragments that rush to a wound and begin the clotting process. And it produces several types of white blood cells, including neutrophils, the first responders of your immune system, and monocytes, which patrol the bloodstream looking for threats. The lymphoid lineage goes in a different direction. It produces lymphocytes, the immune specialists, B cells, which manufacture antibodies, T cells, which hunt and destroy infected or cancerous cells, and natural killer cells, which do exactly what their name suggests. These cells are not born ready. They mature further in the lymphatic system, particularly in the thymus and lymph nodes, before entering the bloodstream prepared and armed. Two lineages, one origin. Every blood cell you have ever had came from this split, the scale of the operation. This one stops most people cold when they hear it. Your body produces approximately 2 million red blood cells every single second, not every minute, every second. And that is just one type. Why so many? Because blood cells do not last long. Most red blood cells survive for only about 120 days before they wear out and are cleared from circulation. White blood cells can live for just hours to a few days during an active immune response. Platelets last about 10 days. The body must replace all of them continuously without interruption for your entire life. When you donate blood, roughly 475 milliliters, your body replaces the plasma component within 24 hours. The blood cells themselves take 4 to 6 weeks to fully replenish. That is how relentless the hematopoietic system is. It never stops. It never takes a break. And in times of crisis, hemorrhage, infection, high altitude, it accelerates. How the body controls all of this. Here is where it gets truly elegant. The body does not just produce blood cells at random. It listens, it responds, it adjusts output based on what it detects in the environment. The master signal for red blood cell production is a hormone called erythropoietin, known as EPO. It is produced primarily by the kidneys. When your kidneys detect that oxygen levels in the blood are falling, whether because of blood loss, disease, or even living at high altitude, they release more EPO. That hormone travels to the bone marrow and instructs the stem cells there to accelerate red blood cell production. More cells are made, more oxygen is delivered. The body corrects itself. For white blood cells, similar signals exist. Colony-stimulating factors are proteins that instruct the bone marrow to ramp up production of specific immune cells during infection or injury. And for platelets, a hormone called thrombopoietin, produced by the liver and kidneys, triggers megakaryocytes, giant bone marrow cells, to shed thousands of tiny platelet fragments directly into the bloodstream. The system is not just producing, it is listening, calculating, and responding in real time. The journey before birth. Here is something most people do not know: the bone marrow was not always in charge. Before you were born, the hematopoietic system moved through several homes. In the earliest stage of embryonic development, blood cell formation begins in tiny clusters called blood islands, located in the yolk sac. As the embryo grows, that responsibility shifts to the liver, then to the spleen, and eventually to the lymph nodes. Only shortly before birth does the bone marrow take over as the primary site of blood production, and in adults, it holds that role for the rest of life. This migration tells us something important. The hematopoietic system is ancient, adaptive, and deeply embedded in our biology. It does not wait for the bones to be ready. It finds a way. When the system breaks down, understanding any system fully means understanding what happens when it fails. When hematopoietic stem cells do not produce enough red blood cells, anemia develops. The body becomes starved of oxygen, fatigue, breathlessness, and weakness follow. When white blood cell production fails, whether due to disease, toxins, or chemotherapy, the immune system collapses, leaving the body defenseless against even minor infections. And when the regulation of hematopoiesis breaks down entirely, when stem cells begin dividing without restraint, producing abnormal cells that crowd out the healthy ones, the result is leukemia, blood cancer, a hematopoietic system that has lost the ability to police itself. This is why bone marrow transplants exist. By replacing a patient's diseased stem cells with healthy donor cells, the entire hematopoietic system can be rebuilt from scratch. A new origin, a new beginning. From a single transplanted stem cell, an entirely new blood system can grow. The hematopoietic niche. The hematopoietic stem cell does not operate in isolation. It lives inside a carefully constructed environment called the hematopoietic niche, a community of supporting cells, blood vessels, chemical signals, and structural tissue inside the bone marrow that together create the conditions the stem cell needs to survive and function. Disrupt the niche and the stem cell fails even if it is healthy. Protect the niche and the system runs for a lifetime. It is a reminder that in biology, context is everything. A cell is only as capable as the environment it lives in. Summary. So here is what to remember. The hematopoietic system is your body's blood-making network, and it runs continuously from before birth until your final breath. It begins with a single cell type, the hematopoietic stem cell living in your red bone marrow. From there, two great lineages emerge: the myeloid lineage, producing red blood cells, platelets, and frontline immune cells. The lymphoid lineage, producing the specialized soldiers of the adaptive immune system. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend: millions of new cells every second, regulated by hormones like erythropoietin and thrombopoietin, responding in real time to what the body needs. When the system works, you feel nothing. When it fails, everything else follows. And when it can be restored through a transplant, through science, life returns to something the body already knew how to do. Your blood is not just flowing through you, it is being made inside you, right now, every second of every day. If, like the video, hit the like button and comment below, subscribe now and share with your needed one.